Okay, so I'm going to make this video for those who have a clock that is mechanical and they're trying to set it up, but when you do set it up, you find that the tick-tock is not it doesn't have a even tick-tock. It's offbeat. So this is what this video is going to be for. I'm going to teach you guys how to set the beat on your mechanical clocks, and hopefully you guys find this video helpful in any way, shape, or form. So let's get started. So I'm going to be using my Yaosh dual chime as a demonstration for this video, and as you hear right now, it is in beat. But however, that isn't always the case sometimes, because sometimes when you get a clock, you hang it up on the wall, you get it leveled, and when you go to start it up, it'll sound like this. The tick will sound like that. Sometimes it will not even tick at all. Now that's caused and happening because the clock is not in beat. Now what in beat means is it's not. Now what setting a mechanical clock in beat means you have to get it to have a nice even tick-tock motion, because if not, the tick-tock is not going to sound even. It'll sound like this. It'll sound like that. Sometimes it won't even tick at all. Or if you're lucky, it will tick. But as you hear, it's not an even tick-tock. It's a offbeat tick-tock. Now, how do you fix that? Now, with modern mechanical clocks nowadays, sometimes the vintage ones, like what this is a 1972 model, as seen on the movement right there. It says 72. But with most clocks, when you're trying to set the beat on them, the crutch system and pendulum leader system will look like this on most modern clocks. However, on antique clocks, it will have a wire crutch system. I'll cover that in a different video on how you set one of those in beat. But for now, we're just gonna do the standard modern way to set a clock in beat. So the way you do that is you can either do it two ways. You can, well, there's actually a couple ways you can do it. You can either set the beat like that with the pendulum on, or you can do what I do, is just grab a hold of this and just do that like that without even having to take the pendulum off. Or if you really want to go all the way, just take the pendulum off and set the beat that way, which I'll do in this video. I'll demonstrate three ways on how you do it. First, we're going to start off with the probably easiest way. If you don't want to take the pendulum off. Now the way you set a clock and beat is you move it back and forth until you feel a resistance like this. You see how it's not letting me push it more further? That's because there's resistance. Now the way you can fix that is by just gently pushing until you feel no more resistance, and the leader and the crutch moves furthermore this way to the right, I think. So you're gonna want to do that very gently until the leader gets to this point. Then after that, you let it go to see if it's in beat. And you see there, I just got lucky. It's in beat now, because most of the times that's not the case. You usually have to do it back and forth. But if you move it this way to the right or left and let go, you'll get lucky and it's in beat, and just call it a day. But sometimes that's not the case, and it's still out of beat. That's why you have this other direction to go to. And you basically do it the same way. Push on it a little bit until the crutch moves like that. Then you try again. You see now it's out of beat. But if I push it towards more that way, it's in beat. Well, it's almost there in beat, but let's try this way now. And now it's in beat. So you basically do that however many times back and forth until you hear a nice even tick-tock, and not a offbeat tick-tock. You want a nice even tick-tock, because if you have a not in beat tick-tock, that's gonna affect the workings of the clock, and the clock is eventually gonna stop running. So you want to have a nice even tick-tock, like something like that. So that way the clock stays running and it won't stop on you, because the clock is not out of beat. Now the clock is in beat. Now I will show you the way I do it usually when I'm trying to set a clock in beat. I go like this. So instead of doing it this way, I instead just move the crutch by moving the pendulum back and forth, in which moves the crutch. So I'll show you how you do that. It's basically the same way. It's basically the same way on how you moved it before, except you have more room to work with instead of like this. So I'll show you. I'll set the clock out of beat. Hear that? It's out of beat, but if I just go this way, a tad bit, we're getting there. Push it a little bit towards more this way. It's almost there. It's still out of beat. Let's try this way. Oh, now it's even more out of beat. Let's try this way. And there we go, now it's in beat. As you hear. So that's how you set the clock in beat, like that. But if you really want to go to the extreme, you can just take off the pendulum and set the beat that way. It's basically the same way on how you do it, but it's a little bit more harder to determine if it's in beat or not until you have the pendulum on. So you just move this back and forth like like how I said to do. Then you just put the pendulum on. However many times you do that to get it in beat. But yeah, that's basically how you set a modern clock in beat. Like this. Although this is vintage, not really modern, but you get my point. Because modern mechanical clocks nowadays, like Hermle and Keininger, use this system of setting the clock in beat. Hear that? That's what you want right there. You want a nice even tick-tock, not a out of beat tick, not a out of beat tick-tock like what you just heard earlier. You want a nice even tick-tock like this. Because if you have a out of beat tick-tock like how I mentioned before, the clock's eventually going to stop running because the clock's not in beat. But if you have a nice even tick-tock like this, the clock will stay running because the clock has enough power to move back and forth between each gear click. And that's actually pretty in beat, in my opinion. But yeah, that's basically how you set a clock in beat. Obviously, it's not going to look like this when you set it in beat. The movement's going to be facing the other way where it should be. But I'll get this movement back in where it's supposed to be. Screw the movement back on, and I'll set the clock in beat like that. Okay, I have the movement back in its case in the proper way it's supposed to be. Because obviously when you set a clock in beat, it's gonna look like this. Not the way I had it before, but the way I had it was just for demonstration purposes. But this is what you'll most likely see when setting a German box clock in beat like this. But anyways, I have the movement back in the case, and as you can hear, it's out of beat. So we go ahead and, just like how I taught you before, just move this crutch back and forth until the crutch moves like that. You don't want to put too much force on it, or else you'll mess something up. So you just want to push it gently on both sides until you get the clock in beat. Now let's see if it's in beat. No, it's not. Let's try this way. Nope, even more out of beat. And there we go, now it's in beat. As you've seen there, I moved the crutch very little at the last push of it. See, it's the minor adjustments that are the key to making these clocks have a nice even tick. Because if you just do it all forcefully all together, it's not going to do that. So you want to move the crutch just enough to where the clock's in beat almost. Then that's when you make those final little adjustments as you saw there a few seconds ago. And you do that however many times with those fine adjustments until the clock's in beat, like how you hear now. And yeah, there you go. Now it's in beat and it's running and ready to go. Just close the door up, move the latches, push them down into those loopholes. For instance, this one has 2. Sometimes German box clocks will only have 1. Well, this one is just a 31 day, but this one only has the 1. This one has the 2 latches. But yeah, that's basically how you set a clock in beat. And I really hope this video was helpful to you guys in any shape, in any form, no, in any shape, way, and form. Yeah, I'm not the best at explaining things, really. My English is not really that good, because English is my second language, not my native language. Spanish is my native language, so English is my second language. But anyways, hopefully this video helped you guys in any way, shape, or form, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which the video will be the 1,000 sub video. Again, thank you guys for 1,000 subscribers. I really hope this number keeps on growing. And yeah, I'll go in depth more on that in the 1,000 sub video. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Sorry, I forgot to mention one part in the video. Sorry about that. But I forgot to mention in the video that setting a grandfather clock in beat and a mantle clock in beat, if they have the same system of crutch system as what the Yash has, it's basically the same way on how you set a grandfather clock and a mantle clock in beat. The same way as a wall clock. If they have the same crutch system, which in this case this one does, and some of my mantle clocks do. But yeah, it's basically the same way on how you set a beat on a wall clock, just in different scales of doing it. Anyways, bye for real this time, I guess. Yeah.